Pop culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Good morning, sunshine. How are you feeling on this beautiful Wednesday? When I tell you it is 33 degrees here, it's true, okay? Absolutely insane, but I mean that in the best way possible. I love hot weather. I will say, though, that like hot weather in the city is so different from hot weather like in a coastal town or something like that. Like, you know, when I was in Mallorca last week, this was around the same temperature, right? 33, 34 or whatever. But it just had such a completely different vibe because you always had like 1,000,001 beaches to choose from. Whereas here in the concrete jungle, you're kind of like, damn, like, what can I do? I know they've got like pools and stuff, but it's not the same now, is it? Anyway, I really hope that you guys are having a great start to your day, and I'm really looking forward to talking about today's big stories with you. We've got a lot lined up, and before I start listing them all, why don't I see who's here for today's show? Who do we have here? We've got Ayan here, Gala, Ali, Cami, Venetia. Good morning, everybody. So nice to see you guys. Sorry, it took me a little bit for your comments to start loading up. Good morning, East Awesome. Nice to see you. I moved my meeting to 10:45 a.m. to me. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Grace's boyfriend, Jason from the Valley. Not Tiny D energy. Oof. I thought you were about to talk about his biceps when he was hugging the Danny. All I could look at were his damn biceps. Oops, not the Freudian thought there. But wow, not small D energy. Jeez. Good morning to Disha, Ronnie, Jenny, Amy, Milan, Michelle. So nice to see all of you guys here. Who else we have? We've got Tyrell as well. We've got Alma. We've got Christy. We've got AD, Kailyn, Mariah. Hold my foot, Joe is back. So nice to see all of you guys. Welcome. Minnie, Monica, Tadisha, Alexa, Bree, La Juan. So nice. Cherise. Hey, y'all. Denise. Yeah, 33 degrees. What does that mean for you guys? I think you guys have to like multiply it by 3 or 2 point something. So I think it would be like 99 degrees for you guys or something like that. Sorry, I wish I could be more helpful. Good morning, Laura. So nice to see you. Okay, so you guys do go that high. So I would say it's in the 90s then for you guys, all right? So, and hi, Acacia. Good morning to you too. Good morning, Melissa. So you guys, why don't we do a quick little run through of the stories that we're going to get into? I did see some comments already pouring in about the Jo situation, being surprised that he reacted to Isaac/Elliott coming out on Kale's podcast. I gotta say though, I'm kind of surprised that Kale is just now talking about his reaction to things, because remember, we were talking about how strange it was that they didn't mention anything about his support in Elliott's journey of finding himself and whatnot, and kind of like left him as an open target for people to assume that he does not support his son's sexuality or whatever, it is that was going on with the family, like the name change and everything like that. That was something that they did kind of, pretty much say on the episode as well, that Jo and V don't call Elliott by this new name. They're still calling him Isaac, which is his real first name, but I digress. Listen, speaking of all these damn name changes giving me whiplash, house. We already talked about this when we were recapping part 1 of the podcast, but Kayla is constantly trying to have these kids change their names, right? We saw her go back and forth in court with Lex and Creed's last names. When it came to Creed, the judge said, leave me alone. I'm tired of you doing this. We're going to hyphenate Creed's last name and call it a day. We're not going to completely change it the way you did with the other one. This is ridiculous, right? And then we also talked about how she's been saying that Lincoln is going by his middle name, Marshall. She was trying to get Isaac to change his last name from Rivera to to Irwin for branding. Like, it's a mess, honestly. And I'm sorry, but this is why I think this Elliott thing is, some kind of scheme that she set up. And it's anyway, I digress. I'm going all over the place here. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about Amber making the confession that she does not she does not regret putting her hands on her ex-boyfriend and a debut baby daddy, Gary. And we're also going to talk about how Shady Phaedra was allegedly the one behind that shady man who came up to Angela on the last episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta and tried to humiliate her by claiming that her husband, Charles Oakley, was cheating on her. We're also going to talk about Demon Diddy's criminal case and how his defense attorneys decided to rest their case in only 20 minutes, and just a little bit of a reminder that they called on no witnesses, which was rather strange. Offset, now that he has officially been kicked to the curb for good this time by Cardi B, he is trying to harvest the energy of another popular female artist, and she's actually not who you would expect. Jay-Z is rumored to be headlining the next Super Bowl performance. Mind you, he is in charge of choosing entertainment, or he has a very high position in that. So it wouldn't be surprising if he went ahead and nominated himself, right? Keke Palmer is giving us some dating advice. She said, you know what? Who cares if the man is broke? Go for him. And we're going to discuss that as well. And last but not least, we're going to finish up with a recap of the Valley. And I know that East Awesome and I are going to get into it over Jason. Y'all know I have a crush on Jason from the Valley. And East Awesome says that he gives small D energy vibes. I feel sick. I can't believe you said that. Anyway, why don't we start off with the Kung Fu Portwood story, shall we? And once again, you guys, if you enjoy the morning report or even just this episode, please do not hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That is how YouTube knows that you enjoy my content. And, that's how I, as a creator, know that people enjoy engaging with my content and that I should continue creating this style of content. Okay, you guys. So buckle up. Let's get ready to go. I do have the video from Amber's rant where she literally admits that she does not regret putting her hands on Gary, and it's very disgusting. I do also have a question for you guys. Who is this guy that she's always on TikTok live with? Where did she dig him up from? Why is he always available? Why is she always available? Like, what are they doing? Very, very strange stuff, but I digress. Listen, I'm going to play the video. And if you guys have a response to that question, please do not hesitate to put it in the chat and I'll bring it up, okay, for you guys. But in the meantime, here's the video of Amber admitting that she has no regrets when it comes to what she did to Gary Shirley. And mind you, this cost her custody of her child, and this put her on the track to going to jail. Take a look.
Honey, you shouldn't have cheated on me. What do you want me to do? Am I sorry for certain things that I did after you cheated on me? Hell no. Not at all. Not one bit. You should not have cheated on me 3 times. No. Why? Why would I be sorry?
Wait, Gary's a big dude, right?
Yeah. I'm not going to be sorry about that. You cheated on me 3 times when we had a baby. I'm not going to be sorry. Like, come on now. It's crazy. And I stuck by with all of that other crap. Come on now. No, so if it's ever since that.
There you have it, straight out of her own mouth. She's not sorry at all. And again, this altercation is what ultimately imploded her life, right? Like, she suffered very serious consequences from this, including her relationship with her daughter, right? Like, she was no longer deemed a safe person to be around her daughter. And the fact that she doesn't regret doing something so heinous against her boyfriend, like, yeah, okay, he cheated on you, which, by the way, ladies, please, what the hell? But I digress. So he cheated on you, okay, but that doesn't mean that you have the right to get physical with him, especially not in front of your child, right? That has lifelong consequences and effects on your child. And so for her to be sitting up there on social media saying that she does not care, like, that's crazy, right? Like, that's really sad and crazy. And like King Carl asked, but Gary's a big dude, right? Like, this guy who's constantly on live with Amber, again, who is he? And that's not shade, like genuinely, who is he? He came out of nowhere. For him to be putting that out there as if to kind of low-key say that Gary deserved it or Gary can take it because he's a big guy, like that's crazy. It's all fun and games, right? Until it's your turn to be mollywopped by somebody, right? And listen, okay, Gary's a big guy, but Amber's not some dainty little flower either. Like, you know, I'm sure she could pack a punch, and she was choking the man. She was punching him in the ear, all sorts of things. Like, these were shocking, painful, and unacceptable behaviors on her part, right? It's really, really, really not okay. And I hate that. I hate that he was trying to justify it in some way, shape, or form based off of Gary's side. That's not cool. That's not cool, you know? And this is what people mean when they say that they feel like as men, they cannot report DV. They won't be taken seriously because of their size, right? And stuff like that. And I really hate to see that. It's really, really disgusting and disturbing. So I see a funny comment here. King Carl says that this man is Gary number 3. Listen, we got to listen close for that accent. He doesn't have that North Carolina accent. Because Amber did say, we talked about this in yesterday's episode of the Morning Report, but Amber says she's got a new man, and this time her man is from North Carolina, and he's got that beautiful accent from North Carolina, right? I thought that, see, listen, Hippie says the same thing, right? Absolutely, absolutely crazy. I don't know what is wrong with this woman to be speaking like this. Like, she really needs to find something to do. She was trying to go to school or learn Pig Latin or whatever it was a couple years ago. But she needs to find something else now. Like, I feel like it's unfortunate that this is all she does all day, every day. Like, okay, you're financially set, this, that, and the other, but that doesn't mean that you should just be rotting away doing this all day, every day. Like, try to do something, like anything, right? Bridget says, she is a psychopath, and I'm starting to agree. That's crazy. It truly, truly is. Hey, Ashley, good morning. Tadisha says, what the F is wrong with her? Normal people leave their cheating partner. Exactly. Not commit DV against him or her. Amber's a psychopath, and I completely agree as well. Kailyn says, Gary did do her wrong in jail, and I agree. That man, listen, this is the thing about Gary. Gary has low self-esteem. Gary has never been a hit with the ladies, right? And so when he noticed, and I guess it's through the show or something, because listen, that's one thing about ladies that is very unfortunate. For a lot of ladies, unfortunately, it doesn't matter, like, anyway, anything other than fame and money. We'll put it that way, right? And so when guys like Gary that typically don't have luck with the ladies suddenly get on TV, all of a sudden all these ladies come raining down on them, right? And they don't know how to act. So yeah, he was a terrible person to her when he was in jail, including his relationship with Christina and how he was, cheating on Amber and Christina at the same time and whatnot. But I don't think that justifies what it is that she did. I think that was just a symptom of his low self-esteem, and that her best bet at that point was to just go ahead and leave him, right? And, again, like, I feel like even if he wasn't necessarily hurt the same way that she would have been hurt if he did the reverse, DV is still DV, and it's wrong, especially in front of a child, because do not forget that Leah was present for this, right? And this did not happen on one singular occasion. This happened on several occasions. She could have made this man deaf. Like, you guys remember the story of Halle Berry and how she's deaf, or at least partially deaf in one ear, because she was hit in the ear by her ex-boyfriend Wesley Snipes. Like, things like this can happen, and so just overall what she was doing was just not okay in any capacity. Ramster says Kung Fu doesn't regret it because it cost her custody. Oh yeah, she was probably celebrating it, right? She had no time to spend with her daughter, period, right? Like, that's probably low-key what she's happy about, because at the end of the day, we all know that she does not actually want to be a present parent for her children. She would have been working on that instead of sitting around on TikTok 24 hours a day if she were serious, right? Like, she's got so much time and money to really, truly work on herself and transform herself for her children, but she's not going to do it because she doesn't care, right? King Carl says, Leah must be so relieved she's nowhere near this woman, and I agree. I feel sorry for her, though, that if she's on TikTok or if her friends are on TikTok, like, she she has access to this stuff, right? Like other TikTok rants that Amber has made in the past have made it as storylines onto the show because they've been shared with Leah, right, by her classmates and everything like that. Like that's just it's so sad. Hold My Foot Joe says, saying you're not sorry for something that made you lose custody of your child is literally wild work. Exactly. If ever anybody had any doubt and was still supporting Amber, please let this be the moment that they wake the hell up. She does not care about these kids, and she keeps on spelling it out in a bunch of different ways. Like for some reason, some people still defend her, most likely because they're similar, but it might be time to wake up, take a look at the situation for what it is, and maybe take a look at yourself. Lori says, and she wants to know why Leah doesn't want a relationship with her when she runs her mouth like that, right? Like it's crazy to me that she consistently chooses to do this and to cross her daughter's boundaries and to hammer on negative things that do impact her daughter and her daughter's mental health rather than working on her relationship and getting to a better place with her. Amy says Amber seemed to be clean and better put together during the family vacation. She also got along with Gary and Christina. Here we are 2 years later, and it's very obvious she's abusing something today. And you know what? That is a great point, Amy. Like potentially that could be it, right? That might be what is actually happening behind the scenes. And I find that to be sad. I hope it's not what's happening, but I do worry that could be part of it. And yeah, the guy who does those lives with her, like I do think that he should maybe issue a public apology or walk back those comments that he was making, kind of low key justifying Amber putting her hands on Gary. It's very, 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 very sad and inappropriate, and it just never should have happened. Very sad story. Honestly, you know, I'm trying to think of what I used to think about Amber like back in the day when the show started. I remember her being on like this journey, like this weight loss journey and stuff after she had her daughter and just trying and whatnot. Like I think she, like Kale, and this always surprises people. Like I used to really like Kale. I saw her having a really bright future. Like if you told me 10, 12 years ago or 16 years ago that this girl would end up where she is now with 7 kids, 4 men, and just all this like mess, I would have never believed you because I thought she was a really responsible person who was going to become a dental hygienist or assistant or whatever and just live a nice, normal life. And then when it comes to Amber, I also, at the very, very beginning, I thought that like she too could potentially have a normal enough life. So like now, you know, after seeing this scene and like all the other stuff that was going on with her daughter and whatnot, it has been quite shocking to me. Did you guys ever have that too, like early on in the 16 and pregnant teen mom universe? Because I remember her studying for her GED at the library and everything. Like she was so motivated. So I am quite surprised to see her and the way that she is these days, right? Very, very sad stuff. Oh, we got a super chat here. Thank you so much for your super chat, Miss Katie Lee. She says, hey, Pretty Grace, love your top. Happy Hump Day, friends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is this halter top. Listen, ever since I got myself right for the summer and whatnot, I am not wearing any t-shirts at all. This is a nice little halter crop top. So thank you. Crop top summer all day. So thank you so much for your comment and for your super chat as well. Woodwork says, so what Amber is saying, if someone pisses me off, I have every right to punch them, including her children too. Right. Like this is a very, very bad message that she's putting out there. And I don't think she realizes that everything she says on the internet is permanent and is being saved and can be used against her when it comes to listen. Does she care though? Like I was going to say when it comes to custody of her children, but does she care? This is not somebody who wants any kind of custody of her children anyway. Just saying. So maybe that's why she does all this. She's trying to sabotage it. She just doesn't want to be a mom, right? And listen, that's okay if you don't want to, but if you don't want to, you're supposed to just not have kids, right? Like it was optional having kids. Why bring kids into the world just to do this to them, right? It's just so sad. And she truly has no shame either. Kung Fu Portwood. And you know, when it comes to her new boyfriend, what is this man doing? Lord have mercy. I don't understand. Anyway, let's get into the Offset story. So did I already give you guys the rundown? So we're going to do the Offset story. His new celebrity crush, Jay-Z, rumored to headline the 2026 Super Bowl. Wait, actually, no, before the Offset story, we're going to get into the Phaedra. The Real Housewives of Atlanta star Phaedra Parks was exposed for being very shady behind the scenes. Then we're going to get into Kail sharing Jo Rivera's reaction to Elliott coming out on Kail's podcast. Okay. So when it comes to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and we talked about this in Monday's episode of the Morning Report in our recap, there was this man, a very messy man, who showed up to an event with the cast. He came to Angela. He said he wanted to speak to her one-on-one, and she didn't do the one-on-one with him. And so I guess he was frustrated that he didn't get his moment on camera. So later on, he decided to do a cheers with everybody, and he publicly humiliated her by saying, hey, let's cheers to Angela, whose husband is cheating on her, which is a very, very disgusting thing to do. And we already said it here on this channel that we think that Phaedra had something to do with this, because she always has something to do with some very cruel stuff happening on camera, but behind the scenes. And lo and behold, that might be exactly what happened. Take a look as Angela shares her side of the story.
Do you believe Phaedra started this rumor that Charles is still cheating on you?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
And you know this because
of the person she used to start the rumor told me it was her.
Do you believe this person telling you the truth?
Yes, he had a lot to lose if he didn't. And it's just who he is and things that he done in his past. He didn't want to come to light. So I found out about it. And I was just like, you're going to tell me, you know, what happened and who sent you. And he beat around the bush and he just said, I'm going to tell you. And he did tell us. And then there was just this connection to Athens, Georgia. I'm like, I've never met anybody from Athens, Georgia, ever. And I've been in Georgia 20 years. Never, And to be in a room with 4 people from Athens at the same time, I was just like, okay. But yeah, he did tell me. And I do 100% believe him. I do, because everything made sense. Like, your sister went to high school with her brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you come in this room and you don't know anybody here, but ironically, your sister went to high school with Phaedra's brother. You know, I'm like, okay. So it was like, Angela, I told you the truth. And he did.
How did you feel about that once that was all discovered?
I was disappointed because I was told, you know, get to know Phaedra. She's coming back. Get to know her. And I kind of looked to her for information. Like, tell me how this works. I'm new to reality TV. Tell me the inroads. Tell me the inside out. And, you know, she was the source of the information. So for that to happen, I was just like, yeah, it was a breach of trust. And, you know, I didn't appreciate that at all. And it's like, what? The truth is so much better than fiction. Like, why do you have to lie on my husband? Like, let's just talk about the things that we've been through. And when me and Charles took this show.
So there you go, you guys. Angela has already exposed it, but I got to be honest with you. I do wish that she waited to expose this information, because like, that's kind of like a cliffhanger ending, right? It's something that we want to find out on the show. So now to find out about it, like, in advance of the episode with the big reveal, like, it just kind of feels like, damn, like, I really truly miss the days of reality TV before the social media. And like, you know, it sounds kind of crazy for me to be saying as somebody who analyzes reality TV on social media, but it's true. Like, but before all this, because we didn't get these spoilers. Like, we used to have these huge, like, plot twists and shock and stuff like that. Like, they used to surprise us, right? We used to have suspense, and now I kind of feel like we've been robbed of that to a certain extent, right? So I want to kind of go back to Jasmine's comment here. Jasmine says, I can believe it. It's too coincidental that soon as Phaedra comes on the show, something like so happens. And I agree. Listen, Phaedra is not called Shady Faye for nothing, right? Like, she's always been known to do some very shady stuff behind the scenes and pull some strings. And she really, listen, Portia was equally responsible in the dungeon gate and whatnot, but Phaedra was the brains behind that whole operation as well. And she wanted Portia to take the fall and never open up about where she got that information. So this is on brand for her. East Austin says Phaedra, 1, was off air for 10 years for the libelous rumor. Candy, richest cast member. 2, returns to TV and orchestrates the libelous rumor. Angela, top wealthiest cast member. Like, she's a hater. She really is. Somebody just hating from the sidelines. And I find that to be just so like sad and embarrassing for her. East Austin says Phaedra's good quality is that she's a good mother with occasionally funny jokes. And I agree. You know, I love the way that she's encouraging her sons in Mr. President's branding and whatnot, and him trying to be a designer and whatnot. But I don't like the kind of ugliness that she brings to the show. It's a similar kind of ugliness that Kenya started bringing to the show as well. And I like Kenya, and I'm a Kenya apologist, but I can admit that she does bring a certain kind of like ugly energy that I don't really care for. Now, you guys, why don't we talk about the coming out heard around the world? This was Jo Rivera and Kailyn Lowry's son, formerly known as Isaac Rivera, who now goes by Elliott Rivera. So he came out on Kail's Barely Famous podcast. They did a 2-episode special on his identity and his journey to coming out of the closet and everything. And not once did they ever mention his father, Jo Rivera, and his reaction, right? So we heard about the reaction of his friends. We heard about the reaction of his mother, Kail. We also heard about the reaction of his grandmother, aka Jo's mother. And by the way, for those of you who might have missed out, let me give you a quick brief. When it came to his friends at school, he came out to somebody that he thought was his best friend. That person went and told other people, and then it turned into this big bullying situation. Then when he came out to Kail, she was extremely supportive, and she hates that he even had to come out and everything because, you know, it should just be what it is, right? The way that heterosexual people just get to be hetero, right? And when it came to his grandmother, he said that his grandmother said that he was just going through a phase. He was young, and then brought up religion and Isaac's relationship with God and belief in God and whatnot. So it kind of was giving religious homophobia almost, but then he did say that she came around and now they have a good relationship. But curiously missing from this discussion and this narrative was how his own father reacted to the news. The only thing that was mentioned about his father, Jo Rivera, was how Jo and his wife V do not call Elliott by his middle name Elliott, right? They call him by his first name, which is Isaac Rivera. Which I gotta ask you guys, listen, if your kid comes to you one day and says that they want to change or go by their middle name instead of their first name or whatever, like what would you do? Would you just go ahead with the change? Like, would that be worrisome to you? Like, well, what's the tea there for you guys? Like, do you think that that's something that's inappropriate on Jo's part, right? Ashley says, always on Elliott's side, period. He is absolutely adorable. Hey, Goose. So Amber is saying Gary made her do it. Typical. Yep. Blaming the victim. The irony of her saying she doesn't regret any of it. Well, that's the act that made her lose her daughter. You know, it really just shows you what type of person she is, basically. Allie says, respectfully, I don't like how much Kail is putting her son out there. He's a minor, and I feel like he should have more has some anonymity. And you know what? I do definitely understand what you're saying there. That is a very, very big thing to put out there on social media and everything. I definitely agree, especially when in the interview, the son says that he doesn't really want to be too much in the public eye in this. And honestly, here's the thing though, and it's not a criticism of him or whatever. It's just, I felt like a lot of things were very like, you know, when someone kind of speaks out of two sides of their mouth, both sides of their mouth, it's like this expression of like, you just don't understand what they really mean because their actions and their words don't really align. So he was saying something about not really wanting to be associated with the show, this, that, and the other. However, like on his social media, like he talks about the show, he does memes about the show, like sign language for scenes of the show and stuff. So that doesn't really resonate with me. And then he's got this name and doesn't really want to be famous, so to speak. But then he keeps Isaac. Like it's, anyway, I digress. So Kailyn says, you heard about her wearing that necklace, right? Like what is the tea with the necklace, y'all? Who's wearing a necklace? What is going on? King Carl says he only has 50% custody with V. Obviously, it's insignificant to talk about him. Do you really think so? Because 50%, like if he has only 50%, that means Kail only has 50%. So is her part insignificant too? To me, it feels like both of them are are important players in this overall story, right? By the way, y'all are distracting me. Hang on. I didn't even get to tell y'all Jo's reaction. So give me a second. I'm going to come back in the live chat with you guys, okay? But basically, Kail did an interview with Parade magazine and shared a little bit about how Jo reacted to the coming out. So basically, and I quote, Jo and I had a really good conversation the other day. And, he said that he listened to the episodes. He was really proud of Elliott, and he said that he was happy. He was perfectly fine with the questions that were being asked. He understands why Elliott wanted to do it. I had the conversation with him, and he came up to me, and he said that he's supportive of it. Okay, so that's good. However, I still do find it to be rather interesting that she doesn't clear up the biggest kind of rumor that came out of those interviews or those episodes, which was the rumor that Jo has some sort of a problem with Isaac coming out, right? So I do think that that was something that it just continues to kind of stick out at me. But, I don't know if you guys feel the same way. So let me take a look at your comments, okay? Hey, BB, I hope you had a great class. Good morning. Good morning. Jess says, I do not like Kail, but I 100% stand behind how well she and accepting she was for Elliott. And same here, and I think it also helps with her also being part of the LGBTQIA plus community, right? Because Kail herself is bi. And so, she has her own kind of plight in that community with her own sexuality and her own having to come out and whatnot. So I think that it also helps. And, it was beautiful, their relationship and their conversations in that podcast episode. Minnie says, I love Phaedra and Traders, but it's sad. Yeah, how she can be. She could be really mean. And it sucks. T. Root says, my family calls me my middle name and I go by my first name everywhere else. I don't think Jo should have to change the way he refers to his son. Anyway, who knows how long he'll go by Elliott, and I think that's fair. And again, I think that has something to do with it because don't forget, Jo knows, and he's already had a fight with Kail over this. He knows that Kail likes to play around with these children's names, and she's playing around with every single one of these children's names, right? And she was the fight they had was because she really had that child go up to Jo and say, hey, I want to change my last name to Irwin. Irwin is Boozy Susie's last name. None of them have a relationship with this lady. So imagine your son who has your last name, who you've been fighting for your whole life, you moved states for and everything, comes up to you and says that he wants to change his last name from yours to not even his mother's, right? Like that's one thing, right? If it's Lowry, okay, whatever, right? But to this random grandma that he barely even remembers because the mom went no contact with her 10 years ago. That's crazy. That is, and it's for branding purposes. And mind you, this child is 15 years old. What? I'm sorry, but that is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. And then on top of that, now it's okay, let's drop the last name thing. Now I want to go by my middle name. And then all my brothers are going by their middle names intermittently as well. I get it, right? I get why he's not doing it right now. Because again, it might be a phase, right? And at the same time, Isaac is still his name, and it doesn't seem like he minds it too much. I don't know. I think Isaac is understanding of that nonetheless. Kailyn says, if the name change is for the kid, yes, but I don't feel like we got the real reasoning. Is it because of her new boo? Or, oh yeah, remember her new boo's name is Isaac as well. Or because he wants that name. I don't follow him as much as the moms, right? He says that he just doesn't like it or identify with it. But again, very coincidental that all of a sudden mom has a new boyfriend named Isaac, and the OG Isaac doesn't want to go by Isaac anymore. Just saying. Ms. Leah says, is Kail going to do a 2-part special for every child's dating preference, heterosexual as well? She's being hypocritical by saying she's sad he had to come out. And you know what? That is a very, very fair comment, right? I get it. I do. But to play devil's advocate here, I almost said devil's lettuce, but to play devil's advocate here, I think the reason that she did this episode for Elliott is because of the prom photos. So this is something that came up quite a bit in the episode. It's how prom photos of Elliott with his prom date, who was a male student, came out against his wishes. And so he felt like he had to come out and was forced to come out because of that. So I kind of get the impression that it had something to do with that. King Carl says Elliott is and should be accepted. I don't think Jo and V had a say in Kail monetizing his coming out on her Patreon. It's disgusting, and Jo should have a say. And I can agree with that as well, right? So for those of you who did not listen to the podcast itself, or perhaps forgot my recap of the podcast, Elliott did not come up with this plan to come out on Kail's podcast. Elliott is just a normal 16-year-old boy, right? Who wanted to come out on his Instagram. It's his mother who said, oh, you're coming out? Hang on, y'all. I have to do it again. I wasn't ready. Just forget I said that. And go. His mother said, oh, you're coming out? Hell yeah. Let's put this on my podcast. It was her idea to go ahead and monetize it. So again, it's just this kind of mentality that she's putting into his mind that I find to be very interesting. You know, I get like wanting to instill an entrepreneurial mindset in your children. I definitely do encourage that and whatnot. But between the whole go change your last name for branding purposes and now monetize your coming out, I do fear that she's giving him the mentality, you know, to go and monetize everything about his life the way that she has throughout her life and whatnot. And I don't know how I feel about that. I got to ask you guys, like, you know, do you think that's a healthy mentality to be imparting on your children? I don't know. You know, this is a genuine question. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say about this. So if you're in my live chat, please let me know here. And if you're part of my playback posse, please let me know in the comment section, because this is a mic check 1 2 1 2 moment. Okay. I really want to know your opinion about this sort of mentality and situation. So I'm just going to scroll up to get to some of you guys' comments about this. Kayla says plenty of people go by their middle names. My parents both go by their middle names because they don't like their first name. And I think that's fair as well, right? Like that's nothing new. Hamlet's Princess says, oh, hey, Hamlet's Princess. Good morning. Nice to see you. King Carl says, Kail has a new necklace that says, oh my God, Ike. Are you kidding me? Where have you guys seen this? Hang on, let me see her Instagram. I got to go look at it from my alt because, you know, she has your girl blocked and unblocked every few business days. So let me take a look from my alt. Kailyn Lowry already has a necklace for the new man and it says Ike. Like, girl, that's crazy. Listen, I'm going to have to go and take a look at this later because I had no idea. That is absolutely, like, hasn't she been seeing him for only a couple of months now? Because the breakup or the announcement of the cheating, didn't that come out back in like early March, late February? So now we're in June. So it's like about 2-ish months and we've already got a necklace of that man's name. We've got like photos of that man printed and hung around like our children in the house. We're bringing that man to our children's, you know, soccer games. That's weird, isn't it? King Carl says, oh, I was being sarcastic about him. Okay. Because I was like, what are you talking about? They both have 50. Kailyn says, Ike, her new boo. She wore a necklace with his name back in the day. I want your video about this. That is crazy. Thank you guys so much for telling me because listen, I've been on vacation for 2.5 weeks. I did not see this. I'm going to have to go back and take a look at it. Wow. Paris says, I changed my name and my mother continued calling me with my real name. At first, I did not like that, but then she said, listen, I chose that name for you and it's very meaningful to me. Ooh, listen, I understand her perspective, but at the same time, it all depends on how you feel about the name. Like if that name triggers bad feelings or bad memories for you or something that makes you uncomfortable, I feel like even if she chose your name, your birth name, you're still your own person. And that if that's a hard boundary for you, it should be respected. You know, I think it's one thing, like, I just prefer it. It sounds cool versus, oh, this is traumatizing to me. This is almost like a dead name situation. Right. And so I think that that's why Jo and V, for example, do not call Elliott by his real name, Isaac. They're probably, you know, because he didn't say he's traumatized by the name Isaac. It's bad this or that. He just said that he just likes the way Elliott sounds better. Right. Which is a completely different thing. So East Awesome says, I assume the name change was to transition to a new gender. Was the name change just to have a new name in the same sex? Coming out is fine, but why change a name if you're remaining the same gender? You know what? It is a lot rarer for people to full-blown change their names without transitioning. However, who was the one who mentioned this earlier? I think it was Kayla. It is also kind of common for people to go by their middle names or whatever. So I don't know. I think he's just playing around with his identity in general when it comes to like his name. Jess says, I'm so glad Elliott has two supportive parents. Same here. Listen, that unfortunately is not the case for everybody. Cammy says, a lot of people go by their middle names, and if Isaac wants to go by Elliott now, it's no big deal. And I agree with that as well. Kailyn says she's being silly. Jo supports, and V does too. Kayla's making a storyline, and I agree with that, right? It's sad that it's at the expense of Jo and V. Hey, Elle, happy Wednesday. Good morning. Alexa says, Kale comes across as supportive, but it definitely gives off that she doesn't want to clarify if Jo is supportive as well. Exactly. It's very simple, quick, easy, and effective to say, listen, yeah, his dad is super supportive. His dad loves him, whether he's gay, straight, or something in between, but she just refuses to do that, which is very interesting to me. And she knows that these rumors are out there that his father does not support him and that his father might be homophobic or something, or that there might be a rift, and it's just odd. Hold My Foot says she always does that to her kids, like how Verse's name is actually Iverson. She just tries to get everybody to call him Verse for some reason. You know what? That's the thing. One thing about Kayla is she loves playing around with names. See you soon, East Awesome. It kind of reminds me of like myself with like my little Mycene dolls. I'd be changing their names every few minutes there. Because I love it. I enjoy playing around with names, but it's a little bit different when these are real life children, right? Very interesting stuff. Watch this space. And thank you to those of you who've been mentioning the Ike necklace. I'm going to keep an eye out for that because that is absolutely wild. I'm really believing Javi when he says that man has made plans to move to Delaware for Kale. I think that because of Javi's rant about it, him moving directly into Kale's place, like that's not happening anymore. But I do think that she's going to put money to help him rent something for the time being until all of this dies over. Because despite the fact that she's gone on to 2 of her podcasts now to kind of clap back at Javi's claims and whatnot, she's been clapping back at the inconsequential things like being late to a practice. She has not denied having a new boyfriend. She has not denied bringing this new boyfriend around her children. And that is a very important distinction there. Now, why don't we get into the P. Diddy of it all? Demon Diddy, y'all. I've got a little bit of an update, you guys, from his trial. Guards. So here he is. P. Diddy's side did rest their defense in only about 20 minutes, and they did not present one single witness, which is absolutely wild to me. They attempted to introduce more text messages between him and his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. In one text message, Diddy was asking Cassie if she could do a freak off without getting high. She replied yes. In another, he suggested couples counseling, but she declined that. And the judge denied including these text messages as evidence, saying that they're not really all that relevant. And their reasoning for wanting these texts to come up is because it would, in their mind, show that Cassie wasn't coerced or, forced to consume drugs to participate in these things. There also was video evidence presented to the jury on June 23rd. An agent, Curciello, presented explicit videos from the freak-offs, right, featuring an anonymous woman named Jane Doe, ex-worker Sly Williams, and you saw Diddy in some of the footage as well. The videos were shown only to the jury, so the reporter's gallery could not view them. The lead prosecutor emphasized their graphic nature as well. And so, again, they wrapped their case up in under 30 minutes. They did not call any witnesses, and their final arguments relied on the romantic/explicit text with Cassie Ventura. So there was a Valentine's Day text message, for example, in which she says that she was having the best Valentine's Day, and he said teamwork makes the dream work. There were text messages from 2017 about having X for 48 hours straight and freak offs without rugs. Messages from Cassie talking about loving him and wanting to be with him and all sorts of things. And so when they presented those, his attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, argued that these alleged victims were independent adults who could have left at any given moment, and that DV, while regrettable, is not the same as ex-trafficking, right? And so now that his side has rested, closing arguments are scheduled for tomorrow and Friday as well. And then afterwards is when jury deliberation is going to be taking place. quick question for you guys. So, wow, we are on our second mic check of the day. So, mic check, 1 2 1 2. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that Diddy is going to be found guilty of anything? And if so, what and how many years do you expect for him to be sentenced to in prison, if any, right? Because perhaps you think that he is not going to be found guilty of anything. I don't know your opinion yet. Okay. So Malen says, Grace, have you seen they've removed some of the charges against the diddler? The prosecutor should have only focused on Cassie. Damn, I had no idea that they did that. Hang on. Let's see. Charges dropped against Diddy. This is going to be some live on the fly reporting. I have not seen any. What are they? Diddy's prosecutor dropped kidnapping, arson, and certain So wow. Here's the thing though, like something that, and I'm looking at it on TMZ, even though I have been warning you guys to be careful with TMZ. TMZ is in the pocket of Diddy, right? So they're trying to portray him as innocent. They're trying to act as though prosecutors do not have a case against him. But this is true that prosecutors have dropped kidnapping, arson, and certain trafficking charges. So I do worry that now that kind of lowers what was initially set to be a life sentence, potentially to much lower. So let's see. Prosecutor said in a letter to Judge Aaron Subramanian, the government is following his honor's instruction to streamline the jury instructions. Prosecutors seem to feel that they've fallen flat on proving Diddy allegedly kidnapped former employee Capricorn Clark and Cassie. Well, that's interesting because Capricorn and Cassie have both testified to things that I would personally consider to be kidnapping, right? Like when Capricorn said that she was dangled over a balcony, right, and forced to comply with certain things, that felt like a kidnapping or a false imprisonment. And then when Cassie testified about how when she'd get away from this guy or she would not respond to his messages, his people would pull up on her because they were stalking her or whatever and bring her to wherever Diddy wanted her to be, right? Even on her birthday, she was doing the karaoke thing and, in comes Diddy, snatches her up, fights her, roughs her up, and then brings her somewhere that she doesn't want to be. So to me, that feels like a kidnapping thing, but I digress. And they're also not pursuing the attempted arson claim with the Kid Cudi's car thing. So they didn't really have anything strong to link Diddy to that, which I get. It's all circumstantial evidence, like the car that was on the scene, the plates matching somebody in Diddy's orbit and whatnot, but nothing much stronger than that linking the two of them together, unfortunately. And they didn't properly test anything to link it to anybody, right? So very, very sad stuff. But listen, there's still quite a bit of charges up there against Diddy. And so I do still think that there is a chance that he is going to be held liable for something. So let me come back to your comments and see what you have to say. Kailyn says, money makes anyone innocent. And isn't that sad? It really is. There are two justice systems out there. Michelle says, that surprise witness just made a post about this. Fake news. Really, I just saw it on TMZ. TMZ is officially reporting this, that some of the charges were dropped. Ali says his team could definitely talk him into more jail time. Exactly. So maybe it was best for them to not let him take the stand. That's typically how it goes down in these cases anyway. Kristen says definitely guilty. I still believe so too. Yep, they dropped that aggravated arson charge as well. Acacia says definitely going to be guilty. I think it's going to be years he's sentenced. Even if charges were dropped, there's so many victims. And I think so too. So how many years, you guys? How many years total are you giving him? Are you giving 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40? Like, do you think that we'll see a free Diddy again, like relatively soon? Like, will he be able to still be of age to enjoy his freedom? Because I believe he's like late 50s now. So like if it's 10 years, 5 years, like, okay. But if it's 20, 30 years, like, to see what's for sure, it's something completely different. Michelle says that surprise witness made a pace. Oh yeah, we talked about this already. Len says, what's hurt Capricorn Clark is her naming that she is more afraid of Coyote than Diddy. Damn. Ashley says, Michelle, I love her. I hope she's right. I'll watch that video after the live. Michelle says, apparently these were not part of the RICA. Okay. I see. BJ has posted and we'll be going live at news. Who's BJ? Oh, 5 to 7 years. Damn, 5 to 8. Damn. Do you guys think that they talked more about like his private ex life than like real nitty gritty stuff? Like, do you think that that's kind of what went down there? Like, you guys don't think there's anything strange about Diddy's side not calling any witnesses as well? It's also strange. Milan says Donald will pardon him. And you know what? That's the unfortunate thing too. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Donald has been pardoning a lot of like straight up criminals these days, right? Like, and Diddy has the money to pay for some of those things. And I think that, you know, Donald kind of needs money, right? So I wouldn't be surprised. And Ali, listen, night 2 in Paris is mad at her too. Night 1 got Miley Cyrus. Night 2 got Jay-Z. Night 3 got Jay-Z. And what did we get night 2? Listen, we got Beyonce, which is priceless. It's all we came for anyway. But we're mad at her too. And listen, I get why you guys are upset. But if you can, maybe Houston. I think she's going to do it for big for Houston, either opening night or closing night. And I think that she has heard a lot of people's kind of like complaints about like her favoritism for Paris. Hey, Jasmine, nice to see you. And so, Milan, I'm going to hold this comment for when we get into our Valley recap, okay? Because I definitely understand what you are saying here, okay? So, yeah, you guys, it's looking like you guys don't think that he's going to be in prison for very, very long. Hey, Milena, can he have some kind of house arrest when he's older? Good question. You know, it depends on the conditions of jail, right? If there's overcrowding and if he is a good prisoner, if he becomes, you know, a longer term prisoner, like, yeah, maybe as a treat or like as a reward for good behavior, that's something that could happen. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, why don't we get into the Offset of it all, shall we? Offset has a new celebrity crush. He already dipped his fangs into Cardi B, harvested her energy, rode the wave off her fame and everything. By the way, did y'all see that video of him performing in Atlanta? And everybody was like sitting like this. It was like a full house. He was opening or performing during somebody else's set. And so everybody was kind of like not supporting him because of the way he's been dogging out Cardi, I guess. And now he's talking about his latest celebrity crush, who just so happens to be Sabrina Carpenter, another young female artist who is, you know, at the height of her career. And I'm sorry, but I find this so ridiculous. On what planet would Sabrina Carpenter get with Offset and his gaggle of kids and his baby mamas, especially after watching the way that he treats women like garbage? That's the thing about these men, you know, it's like the Offset of it all, the Tom Schwartz of it all, the Sandoval of it all, the Jax Taylor, these types of people who, in Nick Cannon, who cannot treat women right, who obviously seem to have a certain disdain for us. Like, they can't leave women alone either, right? Like, you do not like women, Offset. You don't. You hate us. You want to see us suffer. That's what it is with you. You want to destroy us, yet you can't leave us the hell alone. I truly think he just wants to ride the wave of whatever woman is popular. He wants to harvest her fan base and everything for himself, because I'm sorry, but the Migos, to me, they only have one song that I know, and that was like 12 years ago. What was that song again? Something, what was that? I don't even remember the song. It was a good song. I liked it. You know, I put that on the iPod, but I don't know anything else by them, right? And the only reason I ever really paid attention to him, and I think that they continued to rise up after that, was because of his association with Cardi B. And so the way that he just dragged her through the mud and discarded her, like, it was just so disgusting. It truly was, right? So I was really shocked when I heard that. I said, really? Sabrina Carpenter, on what planet? On what freaking planet? I think do I have a video of him talking about this or not? Hang on, let me take a look. I think this might be
Well, think about your love life. Mm-hmm. Do you have a celebrity crush right now? Someone we would all know.
Celebrity crush.
Don't say it out loud.
Okay.
Just yet? Does she know you have a crush on her?
Nah.
Nah, you've never put it out there?
Nah.
You don't want to call her out right now?
You said don't say it.
Wait. Is it artist?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not actor.
It's not an actor.
What's your favorite song by her?
You put me on the spot.
Oh, you don't know her songs?
I know her songs, but I just feel like artistically, like she got it all together.
Okay, what do you like about her?
I like her voice.
So she doesn't know.
I like how she does her stage sets.
So I wrote this earlier.
You want me to look at it? Want me to read it?
Yeah. You didn't tell anybody, right?
No, I ain't telling nobody. How you? This is cap. There's no way. Man, this cap. I ain't never said this before. Sabrina Carpenter.
Sabrina Carpenter is your type? You never said this before, right? You never said...
I ain't never said this before.
You never told anybody?
Never told
You never
nobody.
wrote it down?
Never wrote it down.
So you like them petite, small.
Yeah.
I like that.
Hello? Yeah. They gonna think it's set up. I ain't told her nothing.
It's crazy.
How you know that, though?
Because
I don't know about
she's my
dating
type
you.
too, yeah.
I gotta give the rapper the advice about you, because dating you is a little crazy.
What's wrong? I mean, if you're just honest
How you get this? How you get this right? She just guessed this. Oh, that's crazy.
So there you go. Run, Sabrina Carpenter. Run as fast and as far as you can. We already saw, like, you know, how crappy your relationship with that other guy was, which, by the way, Allie, I had no clue that man had children. What? Is that guy with the black hair and the blue eyes, like the most recent guy who was cheating on her? He has a baby. Listen, I don't know these people like that, right? Like, I know Sabrina Carpenter, but like not the people she dates. I know about that guy. But not the guy before. Like, what? He has a baby. Malen says, I could see it. 2 of her best friends are black. Oh, really? I always see her in the paparazzi videos with, I've never seen her with like a black girl. I always see her with this like brunette, like white girl, and this white guy, but I don't remember what he looks like. T-Bird says, but Sabrina actively appeals to men who treat women like dogs. Well, listen, y'all saw her album cover, how disgusting that was, right? She promotes that sort of behavior and whatnot, and I find it to be so sad and so regressive. She was straight up, almost, in my opinion, promoting violence against women in her latest album cover and referring to women as dogs, right? Man's best friend, and she's on all fours being dragged by her hair. Disgusting. I'm not surprised that that's the type of guy that she attracts. When you put up that kind of energy and you act like that's okay, like, you're not going to get a good quality guy. So maybe, you know, Offset is her type then. Katie says, I think it's terrible for the Don to even speak public that he may pardon him during an active trial. Grounds for appeal/mistrial. Good question. I wonder how that works. Listen, I got to get in touch with Dimitri again. I haven't had Dimitri on the channel in such a long time. I've got so many questions to ask him about certain legal things that have gone on. I need to just get resituated and stuff. And then I'm going to reach out to him for these questions. Really good question. Alex says he's running to her because of that. Exactly. Because of that album cover. Look at Sabrina. You got to be careful about the image you're putting out there about yourself. Like, you're going to attract the bottom of the barrel men, you know, and I'm sorry, Offset, or should I say off cheating? You're bottom of the barrel. Whoa. Oh my God. Shelby says, what did I miss? Oh, Shelby, nice to see you. Let me give you a quick recap. We talked about Amber Portwood saying she does not regret putting the pause on Gary. Phaedra Parks being exposed on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Kailyn Lowry sharing Jo Rivera's reaction to Isaac's coming out. Diddy's defense resting their case in about 20 minutes or so. And now we just finished talking about Offset naming Sabrina Carpenter as his latest celebrity crush. Ruth says, yeah, that rat face guy. Not rat face, damn. Left his baby mama when baby was under to be with Sabrina. Oh, don't tell me she's an Ariana. Oh, Lord, girls, don't do this to other women. That's just so sad. And look what happens to you now. If he could treat somebody who really had his own baby, his flesh and blood, right, for him like this, what do you think he's going to do to you? Oh, God, that's disgusting and sad. Hey, East Awesome. Nice to have you back. We're so close to the Valley recap, too. So I'm glad that you got your stuff out of the way to join us again. Hey, Esther, nice to see you. I'm so happy you're back. And Shelby, no worries. We still have plenty of show left. Okay, we got to talk about the Jay-Z headlining the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show. Kiki Palmer advocating for dating men, making less money than you. And a recap of last night's episode of The Valley. Is our girl Jaleesa here too? She's a Valley lover, so I hope that she gets here in time to see the recap with us over here, okay? So why don't we start off with the Jay-Z of it all, shall we? Give me a second. I'm going to turn that light on behind me because it's looking kind of dark in here. It was such a sunny day when I started that I didn't need light, but now I'm going to have to turn it on, all right? And I don't want y'all to see me walking like a grandma. I got back in the gym and I've been going hard. And so now my joints hurt. So I'm walking around like a grandma. Okay, so let's get into the Jay-Z of it all. Jay-Z is apparently looking to headline the next Super Bowl halftime show. And I really want to know how y'all feel about that. Listen, Jay-Z has a catalog of hits. People are always arguing about him potentially being one of the best rappers to have ever done it. Can I ask you guys here in the Grace Report community or the Morning Report community, do you think that Jay-Z is one of the best rappers ever? I don't know. I don't know many of his songs, right? I only know 99 Problems, Bonnie and Clyde, and his whole 444 album. When he got popped in that elevator by Solange, and all three of them dropped albums, those were some of the most incredible albums of the year, or like in a very long time, right? To this day still. So I loved his 444 album, but I don't know. Did I ever tell you guys about how I got obsessed with Tupac? And I learned the words to like half his songs to impress this guy in the 8th grade. I used to have a crush on this guy in the 8th grade, and he was really into rap. And at the time, listen, I grew up in the suburbs, right? So I wasn't really like, I don't know. What was I listening? I was listening to Avril Lavigne. I was listening to like Kelly Clarkson. And then in comes this guy that I thought was so cool, right? And he loves like Jay-Z. He loves Tupac. He loves Biggie. I said, oh, all right, bet. Now I love that. So I started, because I have like an obsessive personality. If I start with something, I have to like, obsessively get into it. So I was like, okay, let me start with Tupac. I hear a lot about this guy. And so I actually wound up really liking his music and like learning the words to like half of his songs. It's so funny, right? So anyway, I say all that to say that people have been naming Jay-Z amongst the greats for a really, really long time. And as far as I'm aware, he's never really headlined the Super Bowl, but he hasn't really been performing in a long time anyway. So people haven't been talking about him like that. Like before this past Sunday when he helped, give me 1 second, you guys. Listen, my bodyguard is about to go off.
The Morning Report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Are you looking for the perfect skincare products for women over 30? Look no further than Rothia. Rothia is a skincare brand born from love and made for parents. Their flagship product, the Resilience Cream, delivers clinically proven.
And we're back. Sorry about that. So, yeah. So before this past Sunday, when he came to help Beyonce close out her concert, I have not heard of him performing in years, right? So I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of exciting current artists out there who would be great for this opportunity, not to take away from Jay-Z, but I don't know that he would bring the buzz, the heat, the same way that like a timely set like Kendrick Lamar's was, right? Like Kendrick Lamar was the perfect choice for last year because it wrapped up this long sort of like standing situation. It was like the perfect moment, like culturally speaking, right? So whereas this one, I don't know that would be the same case as well. Like, because like, it's just not the same. If it were back in about 2016 when the elevator incident happened, yeah, sure. Right. Because this would have been incredible. Like all of this stuff was going on with B, with Solange and everything. This would have been the moment. But now I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you love to see that? And I'm not saying that he's not a good artist or anything like that, but I don't know that culturally speaking, this is the right moment for him to be doing that. Just saying. But listen, if you brought B back so that B could do like her 3rd, 4th Super Bowl, I'd be happy then. Oh, Jaleesa's here. Hey, girl. We're about to get into the valley. So I'm like, come on, girl, put out the bat signal. So I'm happy you're here, boo. Shelby says, I've been started saying all of it in real life. Ali says, I'll skip the Super Bowl. I was going to go to the game, but no thanks. Really? Why? Because like if Jay-Z does it, but listen, it's not guaranteed. This is just a rumor for now. Right? Kailyn says Hard Knock Live. Is that like his best album? Should I start with that one? For me, again, 444 was a perfect album, right? Just like A Seat at the Table was a perfect album. Just like Lemonade was a perfect album. Julissa says, my husband and I think Jay is overrated. Listen, and I understand that perspective too, right? Because when I was trying to impress this guy, I was, sampling all of these different artists, right? So I was sampling because those were his faves. So like, like the little pick me I was. Those are the ones that were about to be my faves, right? Because up until that point, little me thought Bow Wow was the best rapper. For me, it was between Lil Bow Wow and Lil Romeo. And I was like, who are these people? They might even be better than Lil Bow Wow and Lil Romeo. So I sampled all 3 of these and I didn't really take too much to Jay-Z, and I didn't really take too much to Biggie, right? There were certain songs of theirs at that time that I liked, but it wasn't the same way that I took to Tupac's music, right? So voila. Milan says, yes, he is. Second to none says, absolutely not. Kailyn says, that was my song as a kid. Oh, let me go ahead and what is it? Vibe to it, because I don't know that song. I think I've heard of it, but I don't know it. Hey, Star, nice to see you. Thank you so much, and thank you. You quit your job. Oh, congrats! Listen, Star, you've been making mad moves since we started talking here on the Morning Report. You left your fiance. You went to Miami for a hot girl vacation. You started this like fitness journey, and here you are quitting your job too. You are really getting it this year. Like you are on it, and I love that for you. So congratulations to you, and I'm excited to hear about what you've got coming up in the future. By the way, did you get to see that girl that I told you was your other lookalike? Do you think it was like a good lookalike for you? Kristen says he's into some shady-ish. I could never like him. And listen, a lot of people feel that way, especially with the Diddy situation going down. However, I do have to ask you guys, do you think that given that he wasn't named in anything and he won the situation against that one accuser and is now suing her back, that like maybe he does have skeletons in his closet, but it's not the skeletons that people have been assuming or claiming? Just curious. Jenna says, let's hope not. Malen says, I love Jay-Z since the Sloan video. He was a gentleman. Even Solange beating his behind. Period. You know, like I'm glad that he didn't try to fight her back. If that were like a, Fist Brown or something like that, he would have. But Jay-Z knew better, at least. Ronnie says, love Tupac. There you go, my Tupac girls. My ambitions as a rider. Jay-Z might as well be like Joe Budden performing at the Super Bowl. We didn't ask for it, don't want it. And I agree. I'm sorry, Jay-Z. Like, I like you supporting Beyonce, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to bring the numbers like that. Just says, I think Jay's best era was with Kanye. Oh, that would have been incredible. Remember that era? They had that song, N-Words in Paris, but there was Otis. I loved that song, Otis. Like, that would have been insane. Like, I think you have to strike when the iron is hot in these situations. And so, like you say, Jaleesa, that would have been an incredible era for him to headline because they were doing so incredibly at that moment, right? And they were super culturally relevant at that moment. I'm not saying he's no longer, but it's just not the same. Esausim says, Diddy's team thinks saying a few positive things about your abuser means you were not. Exactly. It's ridiculous. It's called the cycle for a reason. There are always going to be highs, but the lows are illegally low. Diddy. Esausim says, Mike check. Diddy won't be convicted on everything, but he will get time. Yep. I agree. Diddy will be pardoned. Oh, no. Because Comey's daughter is the prosecutor and Trump is petty as hell. Womp, womp, womp. Very sad, but unfortunately, that is the timeline and the reality that we're currently living in right now. And so I wouldn't be surprised. I hope it's not the case, but I wouldn't be surprised. See, like y'all are Tupac girlies too. And I love that, right? Like Tupac over Biggie, right? Sammy says, you made it back from your vacation. I'm glad you had a nice, safe return home. Oh my God, when some of those charges were dropped, I wasn't shocked at all. Gotta let it all play out because if and when he gets out, people are going to be real quiet. Oh, you're saying if and when. You think he's going to walk? Damn it. You know who I'm going to ask? I'm going to ask ChatGPT. Given everything you know, analyze everything as a legal expert and tell me, do you think he's going to walk? Ali says that iron is floating around somewhere in Antarctica. Star says Fedi Ade. I don't see it, but she's beautiful, and I would enjoy seeing Jay-Z perform. I think he would bring it. Yes, she looks just like you to be. So cute. And yeah, listen, Jay-Z, I would like Jay-Z as a guest, but I don't know about him as a main person. But again, I don't know his music like that. And yes, of course, Sammy, I don't think he's going to be in for too long. See, that's the thing, right? It really feels as though the majority of people feel as though Diddy is only going to be serving maybe 10 years max. I think so long as he serves and doesn't walk free completely, I'd be happy. But I am also with those of you who say that it looks as though Donald Trump might also pardon him. Remember, these pardons are up for sale and Diddy has money. So that makes me really sad as well. Now, why don't we get into the Keke Palmer story? Keke Palmer is sharing her perspective on dating. And, this is not the first time we've heard about her philosophy. I remember when she was on the Steve Harvey show, he told her, you are a Keke Palmer. You are so beautiful. You are so successful. You need to be with a man on your level. I've got plenty of men on your level that I want to set you up with. But Keke, unfortunately, has a dusty kink. She really loves for a man to be unemployed. Look at her last one. She said, oh, you're unemployed. You don't want to do with it, anything with your life? Here, let's have a baby together. I want for you to model manhood to my child. So now here she is in that situation, turning around and giving us dating advice. And I really want to know what y'all think about her advice. Okay, I'll share my opinions with you after, but I'm sorry. A woman in this situation with an unemployed baby daddy could never give me dating advice. Just saying. Take a look.
Nobody cares when a man finds his woman under a bridge.
No, I live for Stedman, but you know that Stedman has for many decades been the butt of jokes.
Yeah, because of gender rules.
Yes.
People feel like because she's Oprah Winfrey, who did y'all want her to be with, Barack Obama? That doesn't make sense, guys. I mean, I feel like that's the weird thing about powerful women, what we're left with. So I'm supposed to find love, but he's got to have a certain amount of money, and then, but at the same time, I got to still be like, guys, what's going on here? Why am I? Nobody cares when a man finds his woman under a bridge. No one cares.
No one
cares. And I frankly don't care if that's who you love. That's who you love. Why do we have to deal with that?
Yes.
That to me makes no sense. I ain't never look. My daddy told me a man needs to treat you right. He needs to handle and service you in whatever way you need service. Let me tell you one thing that Kiki don't need:
money.
From nobody. Now, if you want to give a little something and get my nails done, something cute,
but
I'm
shouldn't
fine
they
with
do
it.
that? But shouldn't they make that effort?
Yeah.
Because
but you might still look like Stedman to the world, and that's a great role.
Because if
I was married to, I was with Oprah Winfrey,
you just be sitting up there waiting,
chilling.
Yeah,
and Stedman, by the way, Stedman's esteemed.
Yeah,
Stedman has a whole career. He's just not Oprah.
Yeah.
So the fact that how dare people compare you to your lover?
Yeah.
I hate that Oprah had to endure that.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate that she had to endure that.
It's
and I
true.
hate that Stedman had to endure that. And that's why I said what I said, because you had a good role. You were supposed to be my Stedman.
Yes.
Come on.
He was.
When I played that for my dad said, yeah, because why did he want to be Stedman?
All right, so there you go. Listen, I was reading you guys' comments in the background, and y'all aren't here for it either. Nobody wants dating advice from you, Kiki. Cute girl and everything, but we don't want dating advice from you. It's the blind, and I don't want to say leading the blind because we're not blind. I think we have certain standards, right? From what I know of you guys anyway, and of myself, of course. Hey, Tosh, nice to see you. And hi, Jackson. That is so cute. That is a shout out from your son. Hey, Jackson, hope you're having a great day. So Jaleesa says, unpopular opinion, I don't like Kiki. She's beautiful, but that's it. And I gotta be, you know what? I have to say something. I like Kiki. However, lately I feel like she's been talking too much, and there's something kind of inauthentic about her personality to me. I think that she does naturally have a funny personality, but lately for the past year or this year, it's been feeling like she's been cosplaying Jennifer Lewis. And it's just such an old personality for her age. How old is this lady? Isn't she to me, and look at me, I'm calling her a lady and she's about my age, but she's talking like somebody, her style of talking in the dramatics, it's giving 50-year-old, 60-year-old auntie or something. It feels like a lot, this big performance that can be a little bit exhausting too. But I digress. Ali says, I don't need advice from Keke Palmer. Exactly, right? And when I read your comment, you know what it reminded me of? Jordan Woods talking about Chloe's thing. Listen, I don't want your situation. We don't want the recipe to your mom's sauce. Do you think we're trying to pick up an unemployed baby daddy? Hell no. Hell no. Good morning, Gwen. Nice to see you. East Awesome says, man, I'm a man and I couldn't date a brokey. Jesus effing Christ. I don't get it. At least aspire to have a man with a trade job. And those are good jobs. Those are union jobs. A pretty boy that enlisted into the army at 30 years old. Girl, bye. Right? And Ali says, listen, when you're bringing up Stedman, you're equating yourself to Oprah. And here's the thing. Stedman has his own money. Isn't he some kind of an author or something? He's an educated man. What is Keke Palmer's baby daddy? He's just the brother to some Z-list actor who was in one show, maybe two. I don't get it. Right? I don't get it. And exactly. Tharsini, you're talking about I'm looking for character. Look at the character of your baby daddy. So crappy character and he's broke. I'm sorry, but if my man has bad character, at least, and I was talking about this with my friend the other time, about that remember this listen, I don't want to get into it too much, but I was talking about like this guy who like, you know, the guy who like cheated on me, the lawyer babe. I was like, listen, his character turned out to be crappy or whatever, but boy, was I living good, you know, at that moment. Like I would rather that than be going through struggle with a brokey just to end up in the same thing where the guy inevitably screws you over too. Like, no, absolutely. And here's the thing, you know, she's talking about like, oh, like men, it doesn't matter if their woman doesn't make this. Here's like the double standard is for a reason. It is because men have always been expected to make more than women or make money, period. Women were not expected to make money until recently, right? And so naturally, that's just the way that society's set up. And even though we can make money today, it's still different because we don't have the same wages as men have. There's still that pay gap. And on top of that, like, you know, a lot of people go on to have families, right? And so when you're having family, you as the woman are taking time off of work for maternity leave, right? Like, you know, sometimes at a certain point in your pregnancy, you can't work anymore, right? Because you're too pregnant and it's just too difficult, right? And so you have to stay at home and continue growing your baby. Then you've got to recover from childbirth. So you need to rely on the man. So why would you purposely, as a woman who is going to, if you want to have a family, you're going to have to rely on your man at a certain point. Why would you purposely seek out a broke man? It's just so illogical to me. I don't get it. And I don't understand why she's out here promoting that. And then, yeah, and then typically women in relationships with men, we are typically younger than the man. So you've got the patriarchy on your side. You're making more money than women by virtue of being a man. You're older than me, meaning you had more time to make more money than me. You got these things on your side. And you're still like, what? Like, no, how am I supposed to be attracted to that? I don't get it. It doesn't work for me personally. Shout out to the girlies this works for, but this doesn't work for me, you know? And no, here's the thing. Your man can make less than you. Okay, fine. But why go for a man like Keke went for? Like, does that guy even have an educational background? Not that I've heard of. Like, he's a wannabe actor. And that's it. Like, he doesn't have a job. He does not have a job. Why would you go for a man with no job? I don't get it. Like, huh? And I think it's okay to be an aspiring actor, but like have something going for you. Like, I don't know what this man does for money. Like, it's so strange. And Milan, unfortunately, yeah, like I'm starting to get to that point because again, I feel like her personality is so put on and like she just has such like a terrible mentality. And like Steve Harvey already tried to warn her to date on her level and stuff. Like this kind of like belief that just because a man is broke or whatever, he might have better character than a man with money is just so ridiculous. Like being broke doesn't make you more virtuous than having money at all. Like, I don't get it. Right? Exactly. Right? Your baby daddy doesn't treat you right and he's broke. Like the double whammy of it all, double homicide. I agree, Allie. She needs to just be silent sometimes. Like this is the same chick, like Milan says, that was recently defending Jonathan Majors. Don't forget, she was also defending R. Kelly. Like, it's giving pick me. She's cool, but her drag name should be misguided. I love that. It's true. I want my daughter to be stuck up like a Contessa Luann, like a Lori. Exactly. A Lori Harvey. Those women get the bag and elevate. Exactly. Sorry, ladies, please do not have the Kiki Palmer mentality. This is only going to get you trapped in struggle love. You're going to be a baby mama to a broke Dusty, a broke bum, and you're going to be miserable. Don't do it. Don't do it. Sammy says, I just watched Kiki's movie on the plane one of them days. It was cute. Oh, I wanted to watch that, but it never came out here. I'm jealous. With SZA, right? Melissa says, this girl smokes. What an opening line. This girl smokes crack. Does she not regret? Exactly. Oh, you're talking about Amber. I thought you were talking about Kiki going after Andrew with a machete. No, she does not care about anything, Melissa. She's over it all. What? Yeah, she's about my age. She's like, I'm 31. She's 31, 32. Like something about her personality these days. And I think it's because she's cosplaying 70-something-year-old Jennifer Lewis. It makes her feel like very old. She can keep her advice, but I have empathy for Kiki. She's right. She can only choose between who's choosing her. Do we see the good rich guys picking women like her? And that's the thing. I feel like celebrities are too caught up in the other public fate. I don't know. Like, look at Eve, right? Eve had like this. I see Kiki having more of like a polished persona than Eve, right? Like with Eve being in the Rough Riders, she had like the booby tattoos and stuff, and she still leveled up and got with this rich businessman. You know, like I think Kiki could do that, but like she just needs to think in that way. And I think she Yeah, I think she can. I really do. She's a beautiful girl. I think she fits into the stereotype of what, like, you know, a rich, educated man wants, right? Like I do. So I just think she needs to kind of broaden her horizons a bit. Key says, I love Kiki, but no relationship advice, period. No, I do not want relationship advice from somebody who chose to have a baby with a scrub. Absolutely freaking not. And yeah, her mother's loud. I heard that like little audio drop. Her mother is loud. Shelby says she's a little right, though. You can't have two chefs in the kitchen. Someone has to run the show. And you know, that's the sad part, though, that you are, as a woman, expected to kind of downplay yourself. But you know what she's forgetting? A lot of times men who are not on your level, they will resent you and they will try to drag you down to their level, or they'll try to humble you by cheating on you. You know, going for a brokey is not the final, is not the safe haven that she thinks it is. And you imagine, here's the thing. At least with a man with money, with success, with power, you know, he's earned his freaking ego. A brokey's still going to have an ego, but for no reason. You know how annoying that would be? Absolutely not. Maria says, love isn't enough when your partner is not pulling their weight. Exactly. Sorry, but it is what it is. Please don't pick a purposely jobless person. That will not end well. I completely agree. I think you have to even admire your partner, right, to a certain extent. And what is there to admire about a man with no ambition, no job, coming to you with his hand out like he's asking for an allowance? Yuck, please. Jasmine says, I've always liked Kiki, but recently, exactly, the things that have been coming out of her mouth have been turning me off and away from her. I agree. I think she needs to kind of be quiet for a little bit. It's too much. I'm over it as well. Sorry, Kiki. Now, you guys, we are going to round up today's episode of The Morning Report with a recap of the Valley. Lots happened in last night's episode, and I'm really looking forward to sharing it all with you. Once again, if you've enjoyed today's episode of The Morning Report, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows you enjoy my content. Let's get into it, shall we? So I do have to say, first of all, I cannot believe that Danny apologized to Jason, right, during this kind of like kumbaya moment with the boys and everything, but Jason didn't apologize in turn. All Danny did was talk crap about Jason's wife, Janet, or current wife, I should say, right, because we're not yet married. All Danny did was talk crap about Janet, but it's because Janet was spreading rumors about him and painting him out as an alcoholic and everything. And then Jason had a lot to apologize for, right? The way that he came at his own friend and trying to humiliate him in front of everybody and everything. Like, he could have been softer with him, but all Jason did was accept the apology and not offer his own real apology, right? And I found that kind of sad and disappointing. But at the same time, like you guys know, I went through a similar struggle. And here's the thing. There's no confirmation that Danny is an alcoholic, but it does seem like he might have an alcohol problem, right? And I went through something of like, you know, being friends with somebody who, you know, was giving alcoholic vibes. And it's frustrating, right? The way like that they deflect, they deny, they manipulate and whatnot. It is frustrating and it's exhausting. And so I guess maybe that's just the place that Jason is in, where he's tired of the deflections and the denials, right? Because there was a moment where Danny's drinking was brought up in the circle where, you know, they were mentioning him lying about the amount of drinks he was having and kind of hiding things and, you know, pretending it was less than it was and whatnot. Like, dealing with that sort of thing is exhausting and annoying. So I do understand if that's something that has been bothering Jason. And he, you know, during that moment, Danny denied things. He accepted responsibility from some, but minimized other. Like, it's annoying. So I get it. Meanwhile, the ladies went out for lunch to hang out with each other. It was the entire group. And as soon as they sat down, they started talking about this trip for like Kristen that was being organized by Luke, Nia, and Danny. And, you know, Jasmine's like, oh, like, I heard there's going to be a surprise for Kristen. I was like, girl, you know, she's obviously doing it innocently, right? She's not a Kenya Moore who is going to purposely try to ruin your engagement. But I would have been pissed if I were Nia at that table, right? Like, shut up. You know, she's been in this long-term relationship. You know, it's serious. Obviously, especially because you're going through that in your own relationship where you guys are talking about getting engaged. At a certain age, you start to kind of like get the hint that like there's an engagement coming, but you've got to shut your mouth. I was ready to like scream at the screen when she was doing that, right? Now, by the way, Janet really, she was activated during this scene. Like, she really went off on both Kristen and Janet. She's still pissed off at not Janet, sorry, and Nia. And she's still really obviously pissed off at Kristen for the ringless rumors and everything. So I get that, but I don't understand why she went so hard against Nia. Like, okay, I get it. You're upset that you think that Nia's husband is an alcoholic and she's minimizing it. But I don't think that that's enough of a reason to go off this way against the wife. Obviously, she's a long-suffering wife, if that's the case. And if that's your friend, you try to support her and you try to be empathetic towards her instead of being vicious against her. And I found that to be rather disgusting, to be honest with you. But the way that she went after Kristen, nonetheless, did make me laugh. Listen, Kristen can take it, right? Kristen can take it. And East Awesome, yes, please come tell us why you think he is a wimp. I want to hear it all. I love hearing different perspectives, okay? So I really do want to hear your perspective. And so there's Kristen looking really, really frustrated because of the way that Janet was coming at her. She's like, you like to dodge accountability. I'm holding you accountable, blah, blah. And so that was rather funny. And then there was supposed to be a meetup that happened between Jax and Brittany over lunch, but she decides to stand him up and let him know she's not coming because she received photos and videos of him getting drunk at a bar. Remember, this man is fresh out of rehab for substance abuse, right? Including alcohol. And he's claiming that he's going semi-sober at the very least, but you're getting wasted at the club, at the bar, just after getting released from rehab. That's insane. In addition to all the other stuff that he was doing while in rehab, I thought she was smart to refuse to tape with him, right? And so, of course, per usual, Jax denies, deflects, gaslights. And he hangs up on Brittany as she's continuing to share more details about the sinister things that he has been doing since being released from this alleged rehab. Like, who goes from rehab to binge drinking? That is absolutely insane. I still don't believe that that was a real rehab. Jaleesa says, I'm so done with the storyline because they have two evil men in that circle and they're all piling on to Danny. Good point. I honestly think they're so jealous that Nia and him were the fan favorite. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised, right? Here's the thing. Nia, she's so beautiful. She seems to be so loved by her husband and everything. And that can trigger people, right? People who think that like your life seems too easy, they're going to try and become agents of chaos in your life. And so I do believe that that might have something to do with it. Jaleesa says, I'm over the Danny storyline there too. Exactly, right? Why are we focused on Danny when we can be going after Jesse, when we can be going after Jax? Like, it's sick and it's disgusting. But here's the thing. Jax is such a master manipulator that, and you know, even when they were doing that circle with the guys, he's the one fresh out of rehab with all his, you know, substance problems. And somehow he managed to keep the conversation focused on Danny and Danny's consumption, right? You know, I thought that my man Jason was a very smart man, but he really has fallen victim to Jax's manipulation. And we also saw this in the last episode I recap when like he was FaceTiming Jax and Jax was claiming that he's giving all the money to Brittany from the podcast and stuff and blah, blah. Like they really, truly fell for it. Just also says, I also think Janet is a see you next Tuesday. Damn, she's not entertaining, pushes the same issue 100 times. She really made Danny's drinking about herself. Exactly. You should not be so pissed off at your friend because her husband allegedly has a drinking problem. That's weird. And then like to bring the baby into this, like well, the baby hates seeing me upset. Girl, bye. Yaya says, the sad part of this Diddy trial is even if he's convicted, yeah, exactly. We do think that he is going to be pardoned, unfortunately. Let's hope we're wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, Brittany stands up Jax and Jax was embarrassed. And I was like, you know what, good. Like when a narc says he's feeling embarrassed, like that's a true huge thing. And that's their biggest kind of like fear, right? Is feeling rejected, feeling shame. And so the fact that she managed to make him feel that, like I was proud of her for that. East Awesome says, fun fact, Jax planned the Danny storyline with Jan. Really? Where'd you hear this at? Before the season and the rehab, Danny and Nia were the target of the season. Britt and Jax's divorce was unexpected. Danny Darko was the original plan. Tia, where did you get that? Oh my God. What a freaking bombshell. Malen says, I stopped watching The Valley because of Jax. I don't want to support an alleged abuser. Listen, I get it. He's sick. He's toxic. And I actually think that they might listen to the audience and get rid of him next season because the way that they handled him on Watch What Happens Live. And Kailyn, I wanted to read your comment earlier, but I forgot when Kailyn called Offset a gold digger. I do think he's a gold digger. He's a gold digger, energy digger. He is energy vampire. Like, ew, sorry. Oh no, but I got you, Julie said. Don't worry, I understood you. And bye, T. Ruth. Have a great day. Oh, not you picking up your wedding dress. This is so beautiful. Going to the chapel and we're gonna. Congratulations, T. Ruth. We can't wait to hear all about your wedding as well. So when the group arrives at the hotel, right? And remember, this trip is all planned around Luke's proposal to Kristen, right? And for somehow, and I actually think the production had something to do with this, they didn't get upgraded to the presidential suite. Look how stressed he is. He's taking his hat off and everything. The people who got the presidential suite on this trip were Zach, Benji, and Jesse. And so Luke is so pissed off about this. He's like, why didn't Zach offer me the presidential suite? Like, he should have offered to switch. But the thing is that Zach was thinking that, of course. However, he did not want to blow Luke's cover. And so he was talking to Nia and Danny about potentially, or like trying to find a way to trade the room upgrade with Luke and Kristen. And so I really do hope that he manages to do that. But in the meantime, he and Benji were having the best time enjoying the shower together and stuff. Like, it was just too funny. The two of them, like, with their water fight. Guys, can I just say that I don't really think they have real chemistry. I just don't see it for them as a couple, unfortunately. Are they still together? Maybe Benji's just awkward on camera or something, but I just do not see the chemistry, to be honest with you guys. But again, Benji could just be somebody who's not really into the camera and is having a hard time showing, like, you know, how he feels on camera. Just saying. Melen says, I love Nia, but they gave me mega vibes with Danny's family. Yeah, and I agree. You know, I can agree with that as well. Right? Like the whole, like, what is it? The mega church thing is just bad vibes in general. And yeah, I see why you come to that conclusion, Melen. Jalisa agrees with you. He's awesome. If you listen to Sheena's podcast, Janet was plotting to bring them down when season 1 was airing. And so was Jax. He admitted to it on their podcast. Damn, I have to go back to listening to Sheena. Listen, I love Sheena, beautiful Sheena, but her voice, woof, drives, it's like nails on a chalkboard for me. Do I really have to go back to listening to her podcast? And yeah, Benji's still married. Like, I think it's giving, like, you know, and listen, Benji, you're Canadian. What are you doing? What are you doing? No offense to my American friends, but like, you're Canadian. Like, you don't have to, you know, fake it to make it for a green card. Like, there are other ways to, like, you know, stay in the US if that's what you really want to do. Right. Oh, Jalisa says she's not mega though. She's posted on. Okay, good. I hope so. I really hope that that's not the case. He's also says Zach is growing on me, but exactly. The chemistry is just not there. It's giving mistress on camera. Maybe that's why Benji's seemingly so awkward, right? Like, he knows it's not a good look as a married man. Melen says, and he's going through a divorce, but you're still technically married, right? Melen says Benji's giving green card. Exactly. It just doesn't seem like he's genuinely attracted. Sorry, Zach. Zach seems to have a really nice personality though, so I'm disappointed for him. And now the ending of the episode is Jesse trying to figure out if Michelle did in fact cheat on him with her boyfriend, Aaron. And listen, guys, I do not care if she cheated on him or not. After I heard that story about him trying to control her birthing their daughter and deny her painkillers, epidurals, and whatnot, cheat on him left, right, and center, girl. Cheat on him everywhere, right? Like, what a POS. That's disgusting. Like, that is just so cruel to do to somebody, and to mess with something as delicate as childbirth. F you forever, right? And y'all know I'm against cheating, but somebody like that, sorry, not sorry, but I don't care, right? So I don't care if she cheated on him. Like, congratulations if she did. However, him trying to get to the bottom of this, that random girl that he hooked up with, continuing to pop up and everything, this has all the makings of a super juicy storyline. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the confrontation plays out next episode as well. Do you guys know if Michelle is still with that guy? Are they engaged or anything? Like, because it's Jesse's life mission to ruin that relationship. And so, like, if they're still together, it makes me laugh because I just know how miserable that makes him. You know, he tried to be in a relationship with this random chick and everything. He tried to hold that over Michelle's head and the whole, I might be moving to Orange County to be with her. But then, you know, he found out on camera that girl isn't even all that interested in him. She's still dating other people, celebrities like Zac Efron or something. Like, that made me laugh. Lisa says, we see a lot of couples don't have chemistry. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like, he might just be awkward. Maybe. But so far on camera, it's reading very awkward for sure. Hey, Nia, so nice to see you. Good morning, sunshine. Lisa says, no, you don't have to listen to the podcast. Oh, okay. Thank you. You know what I might do then? I'll follow it on Instagram because I think podcasts typically, they show like their most kind of like pertinent or popular moments in the way of clips on TikToks and Instagram. So I guess that's something that I'm going to do in order to catch her tea on all this. And one thing about Sheena is she's really vying for a spot on the show. And that's why you're seeing her pop up almost every episode. And listen, I can't hate the hustle. She's got a husband and a baby to take care of. What does Brock do for money now? Taking, dating advice from Keke Palmer is like taking it from Sheena. Sheena, who's been buying all her boyfriends. Remember, she was buying penguins, Apple Watches, trying to buy love. Somebody as beautiful as her. Isn't that crazy? And somebody as beautiful as Keke Palmer. Makes me sad. It really, really does. And Melissa says, mind you, he definitely cheated on her. She was home with a newborn and he was out all night. Exactly. Jesse, we don't care. You're not a sympathetic character. However, I am interested in the drama and I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out next week. So stay tuned, you guys. Okay. Thank y'all so much for joining me for another episode of The Morning Report. I have to start getting ready for my martial arts class. Guys, it's almost done. Thank God. Listen, I like martial arts. Okay. But this one I'm doing in particular is called Aikido. I don't like it that much. Like, it's interesting and whatnot, but I don't love it, right? And I think the thing I hate the most is it's far from me. Like, I live in the center of the city, and this thing takes place like on the south edge of the city, right? So it's just such a hassle for me to get there. But I did it because like I really wanted to spend more time with like, this particular friend and everything. So like it was for that. So this is my second last class. And what I'm going to start doing to fill my Wednesdays is either doing yoga or I'm going to do Kizomba as well. So I'm going to be alternating between yoga and Kizomba. And then voila. I also had it on Friday nights. And on Friday nights, now that my Friday nights are free, it's going to be dedicated to Reformer Pilates. Anyway, you guys, thank y'all so much for joining me for another episode of The Morning Report. And listen, I got to eat too. I'm starving. Oh, Lord, I'm starving. Can't wait to see you bright and early tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for more of the day's hottest stories. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great evening as well. Cheers, you guys. Bye now.